KWT slaying.
What if the truth was never lost, only buried? For centuries, historians, scholars, and even colonial records have confirmed what many tried to silence. The original Israelites were a black people scattered across continents but never erased. Their skin was dark, their customs ancient, and their covenant with Yah eternal. This journey uncovers how the Spanish and Portuguese Jews, described as dark-skinned, Semitic, shared one bloodline. Chased by the Inquisition, many fled to Portugal, then beyond, preserving their heritage across borders. But the story doesn't end in Iberia. Across from West Africa, black Jews built synagogues, kept Torah, and passed down the laws of Moses. The Limba in southern Africa, the Igbo in Nigeria, the Beta Israel in Ethiopia, tribes across the continent boldly declared, "We are the children of Israel." These aren't isolated claims. These are voices rising from the dust, connected by oral histories, Torah traditions, and the unbroken rhythm of their identity. No such legacy exists among European Jews. No centuries of tribal witness, no matching traditions, no trace of ancient covenant keeping. Maps, art, and archaeology tell the same story. The Israelites were scattered, enslaved, and displaced, but never lost. The world always knew who they were. Their presence was visible, their customs alive, their story intact. This book doesn't speculate. It confirms the Israelites were black, bound by blood, culture, and covenant to the Most High. This is not just history, it's restoration. The truth was never destroyed, only buried beneath centuries of deception. Get your copy of They Always Knew We Were Israelites today, available now on Amazon.com.
Salama family, salama, how y'all doing today? Hope you're blessed and highly favored. So fam, do y'all remember this? Do y'all remember when Hebrews are saying America was going to change in 2019 and 2020 after our 400 years was up? And y'all laugh? That's who it, whoever it applies to. Can you imagine, based upon what's happening today, that some people still in denial? Can you imagine they still think that, they're not going to have to flee? Oh, I'm waiting for the second Exodus. Oh, it's just going to be for so and so and so and so, and not for us. And I'm like, I say, well, give me the scriptures for that, right? I actually had a joker tell me I'm boasting because I said, hey, y'all scared? I'm paraphrasing. But they're living in a delusion. They're living in a delusion because they think it's going to play out the way that they imagine it to be. And that's what I've been saying for the longest. And the scriptures are clear, but here's the thing. The scriptures are detailed, and the scriptures have nuances, which a lot of people ignore. I don't ignore anything. Messiah said, not one jot or tittle shall pass away till what? All things be fulfilled. Not one jot, not one tittle. So I look at the jots, I look at the tittle, I look at the nuances. I'm not like all the other jokers out there who says, oh, guess what? We ain't gonna have to flee. I'm just waiting for Messiah. I'm waiting for the second Exodus. Yeah, okay, that's fine. But are you waiting according to scripture, or are you doing what he told you to do? That's the question. And so there's this dynamic. I'm telling you, the things that are happening, you can't imagine. Because everybody, look, like I say, I'm researching, I'm studying all the time. And the thing that I see, a lot of people still don't see, and they don't know. Okay, and that's fine. But I'm gonna say this: it's not good. It's not good what's happening. And as I mentioned, and I've always mentioned, they're going to push you out. Right? Y'all could go back 8 years ago, look at my Fall of the Gentile Powers. Tale Ministry has been teaching this time was coming, and it is here. Now, the question is, what do you think is going to happen next? I'm going to give you my opinion of what I think is next. Because, hey, they're going to come and they're going to gas like, well, Teo said this if it don't happen. Okay, well, let me give you the caveat. This is your Colber's opinion of what's going to happen next. This is your Colber's opinion of what I see happening now. And so far, I have a pretty darn good track record, if I say so myself, even though there's a lot of people who wants to ignore it. Understand this, that there's a nuance to what's happening, right? There's little detail, there's little jots, there's little tittles that's people don't pay attention to that I pay attention to. Now, I'm gonna show this, and I'm gonna go somewhere with all of this. Okay, Revelation 12. And a great wonder, right? Great sign, warning of future events, ominous significance appeared in heaven. Let me go with the it don't matter to me what y'all want. Some of y'all want NIV, some of y'all don't. I use whatever, right? Let me go to NIV. All right. A great sign appeared in heaven, a woman clothed with the sun, with the moon under her feet, and crown of 12 stars on her head. She was pregnant and cried out in pain as she was about to give birth. Okay, so, this is Israel, right? But there's typologies here, right? There's typologies here. So not only is Israel the woman, but Israel as a nation is also the baby, even though the baby's the Messiah. And I'm going to show you. Y'all should know this because y'all, a lot of y'all been here for a while. Then another sign appeared in heaven, an enormous red dragon with 7 heads and 10 horns and 7 crowns on his head. Its tail swept a third of the stars out of the sky and flung them to the earth. The dragon stood in front of the woman who was about to give birth so that it might devour her child the moment he was born. Now, we know that was synonymous of the Messiah, but I'm going to show you later on, and y'all should know this, that it's also synonymous with the birth of Israel, right? She gave birth to a son, a male child who will rule all the nations with a iron scepter. And her child was snatched up to Yahuwah and to his throne. The woman fled into the wilderness to a place prepared for her by Yahuwah, where she might be taken care of for 1,260 days. Okay, so I'm not going to read the whole thing. Y'all know the story here about the woman, right? And how she's going to have to flee into the wilderness. And what I believe is next is the wilderness experience. Okay, that's what I believe is next. I don't have to be right. Okay, this is my opinion. Eat the meat, spit out the bones, right? Some people don't like when I say that, but that's a fact of life. You know, if you like the taste, eat it. If you don't, spit it out, right? I could say this. Brother Yacoba could cook. Right, brother Yacoba could put that word together and put that bread down and make it taste good and give you clear understanding. Because guess what? Everything that we taught is coming to pass. We were attacked from day one, right? Told we're wrong, told we're not going to flee, right? Oh, it's the second Exodus. Oh, Yacoba's scared. All of y'all know all the stuff. But guess who's right? Guess who's right? Where we at right now? Hashtag ain't no 400-year prophecy. I'm just asking, right? Well, Yacoba, you're boasting, right? I had one guy say, yeah, you're boasting. No, I'm not boasting. I'm not boasting. What I'm saying is y'all need to wake up. What I'm saying is you got your head buried deep. What I'm saying is that y'all been attacking the brother for all these years and the brother being proven right. So maybe it's time to start listening and making preparations, right? That's what I'm saying. You ain't got to like it, right? Because personally, I don't care. Because like I said, things, they ain't going back to normal. I told y'all that, and they're not going to go back to normal. If y'all still waiting for normalcy, you're going to be waiting. Hold your breath. You're going to be waiting. If you can't see right now, you ain't going to see. I'm going to put it that way. So we're going to talk about some of the things that's happening today. We're going to talk about it from the viewpoint of, modern news, right? Politics, right? Scriptural viewpoints, right? I'm like, personally, everything is lining up, right? In my opinion, right? And that's why I say, this is Tell Ministries. Minister Yacoba and Minister tell you, right? That's what people come here to see what we teach. Whether they like it or not, that's up to them. But understand, you could go somewhere else. Because I'm going to tell you right now, if y'all think things are going to smooth down and calm down, I guess we're going to find out, aren't we? We're going to find out. But let's look at this because I'm going somewhere. And I'm going to try to do this where I could bring in the current news, but I can also bring in some of the scriptural viewpoints of where I think we are and what I think is next. And basically, like I have been saying, we need to prepare, right? We need to prepare. All right. So let's look at this.
Create a pretend world. We are a global production company. We write the screenplay. We're the directors. We're the producers. We're the main actors. The world is our stage.
This is Mossad's old office. Its motto from Proverbs 24:6 says in so many words, wage war through deception and trickery.
All right. So I want to say something right in the beginning.
We create
this part right here, I believe is AI, but I left it in there, right? Just to show that what he's saying is legit. Okay. So I believe it's AI. Don't say nothing, right? I'm letting you know, I believe this part is AI. Okay.
Pretend world. We are a global production company. We write the screenplay. We're the directors. We're the producers. We're the main actors. The world is our stage.
This is
all right. So the world is their stage. And so when you understand about the Mossad, you also understand about the CIA and all of these international, intel companies, let's put it that way, right? And so they're all a part of the globalist movement, the New World Order, occult system. Now, what we have going on today is, in my opinion, right? In my opinion, we have a lot of, we have a lot of changes happening, right? And these changes are tied to the Deuteronomy 28 curses, right? So Yacoba, how are you going to tie this to the Deuteronomy 28 curses? Well, I'm going to try to explain that, right? I'm going to try to explain that. So let's go ahead. Let's look, continue.
Are you a little nervous this morning? See? Do you understand what these proceedings here in court are all about? You know what a lawyer is? No?
Poor little man, right? I don't glorify or have fun in nobody suffering, right? And definitely I don't glorify no babies, right? But my point is I'm here to make a point of what I think is happening. And so, we're going to talk about all of these different things that are happening and how these things align with the scripture. So, one of the things that I want to share, and I'm going to say we're in the beginning, right, of these curses reversing, right? We're in the beginning, right? So right here, Deuteronomy 28:41, you shall beget sons and daughters, but shall not enjoy them, for they shall go into captivity. Now, right now, it doesn't look like captivity as we went through and our ancestors went through, where they came and took us off the continent and brought us over here and all this stuff and separated the families. But what's happening is a shadow of that, right? It's happening, but well, let me read this one too before I go, because I skipped one. Deuteronomy 28:32, for your sons and daughters shall be given to another people, and your eyes shall look and fill with longing for them all the day, and there shall be no power in your hand to prevent it. So right now, it's sort of like what happened during the Inquisition, right? Remember, during the Inquisition, they separated us from our parents, right? They sent some to Sao Tome as slaves. They sent some to Angola. They sent even some to the Americas, right? And so what people don't realize, and they don't speak enough about, is that the original enslavers of our people were the Spaniards. And so in America, and Americas, not America, not the United States specifically, but in the Americas, which was inclusive of Mexico and all these Latin American countries, you had Spanish colonies. And these Spanish colonies enslaved us. Over 200 something thousand Black African slaves, Israelites, were enslaved in Mexico. Now, nobody wants to talk about that, because everybody want to talk about how, during the 1800s, they helped us out, right? They helped us out. And I'm not going to deny during the 1800s, some of our people ran across, the borders, from Texas and went into Mexico to seek refuge, right? But before abolition, Mexico had African slaves. It was estimated to be between 200,000 to 250,000 Africans or Israelites who were brought to Mexico between the 16th and 19th century, right? So slavery was concentrated in Veracruz, Mexico City, Guerrero, and parts of Oaxaca. So, we get the message that, hey, we helped y'all during slavery. Yeah, during the 1800s, right? But that was toward the end. And I'm not saying that was a bad thing, mind you, because, it was good that, some of y'all let us come over there, but y'all still treated us like trash. And so what I'm saying is, what we're having here is a reverse of the curses. And a lot of people don't see that. They don't want to see it. They don't want to hear it. Right? Why? Because everybody will act like they didn't do nothing to the Negro, to the Hebrew Israelites, to the Ezra Alawi. But yet, here we are. And I think it's a bit a bit blind. Let's say, what's the word? Not blindness, blind. Well, let's say your vision is obscured, not recognizing the reverse of the curses. Let's put it that way. And before I continue, one thing I did want to say, I was supposed to do the seals this week, and I'm not going to be finished with the seals. I'm still working on it. So the seals will be ready when it's ready. Okay, so I'm not going to be ready with the seals. I still got some more work I got to do on it. I was hoping to have the seals ready this week, right? But I don't think, I know I'm not going to be finished. I still got some work to do. So I'm not going to put a time on it this time because I know y'all been waiting. So when it's ready, it's ready. So we have these Deuteronomy 28 curses happening, and it's not clear to people that it is occurring, and it's being reversed, right? These things are being reversed. And I think that the understanding of why this is happening is leaving people confused, right? Because they always say, well, I didn't do anything. My ancestors may have done it, but we hear that mostly from the Caucasians. But even for the Mexicans, they are descendants of the Spaniards and the Portuguese. They are the first ones who have enslaved us. So as I read, thy sons and thy daughters shall be given to another people, and thine eyes shall look and fill with longing for them and all the day long. So this is the clearest verse describing forced separation. That's what we're seeing, right? Forced separation. Not in the form initially as the end result of what happened to us, but definitely what happened in the beginning of the Inquisition, right? In Deuteronomy 28:41, thou shalt beget sons and daughters, but thou shalt not enjoy them, right? I believe this is the beginning of that, right? For those who are descendants of those who enslaved us. Okay. Now, an interesting thing is, and like I say, eat the meat, spit out the bones. And I'm gonna just throw this at you. Just think about it, right? Chew on it. I'm not saying it's happening, but like I say, it's a shadow of the things that happened to us, right? So even Deuteronomy 28:6-8, and Yahuwah shall bring you into Egypt again with ships, by the way about which I said to you, you shall never see it again, and there you shall be sold to your enemies as bondmen and bondwomen, but no man shall buy you. Now, like I say, it's a shadow of what we're seeing, right? Because some of them are being sent to El Salvador, some are being sent to Rwanda, some are being sent to Libya, right? And I'm not saying these are all Mexicans either, right? These are different nations, right? But all who had a hand in our captivity, at least as far as what I'm seeing, it appears to be a reverse of the curse. So all of this is leading up somewhere, and I believe personally that, like I say, it's just my opinion. I don't have to be right, that we're going to be leaving soon. Now, if you want to wait on the second Exodus, I would say this, that you don't understand what the second Exodus is. And that's why you can't fathom the fact that you're going to have to flee, all right? But that's a whole different story, which I've already taught on.
Who's got the power? ¿Quién con the power? People power. Trump, escucha, estamos en la lucha.
Trump, let's be clear, immigrants are welcome here.
Trump, let's be clear, immigrants are welcome here.
Who's got the power?
One thing I never understood, was the animosity between our people and the Mexicans, because, my experience with the Mexicans and, the Latino community in Texas has been positive. But then there are the ones who are in Chicago and California, which I understand from some of our people, they don't have a positive interaction with them. So, as far as them expecting us to be, part of this protest, well, it seems to me, okay, you only care now because you're affected by it, but you didn't care when we were being shot in the streets, right? And you all voted for Trump, right? You all voted for Trump, going against your own your own interests, right? But I mean, look, I get it. The dialectic is pretty strong. I get it that, maybe you wanted what you call a more secure nation and more family values. I get it. But what you should know, you're not going to get family values from a person who never had values to begin with, right? You're not going to get that from a person who cheated on his wife and knew Epstein, was friends with Epstein. You're not going to get that from somebody like that, right? I mean, common sense, right? That's why the scripture tells you to look at the fruit, but y'all don't like looking at fruit, right? You don't like analyzing the fruit.
We're seeing new video showing the chaotic moments protesters and federal agents clashed across Los Angeles.
It marked the second day in a row of unrest as ICE raids continue. Explosive flashbangs and clouds of tear gas filled downtown LA last night as police declared an unlawful assembly. There also appears to be some looting at a convenience store in Compton. LAPD says they detained several people and eventually arrested 27.
And this comes as the National Guard troops that President Trump ordered have started to arrive.
Eyewitness News reporter Amanda Palacios joins us live from downtown Los Angeles with the breaking update. Amanda.
Good morning. Yeah, we've already seen a large growing National Guard presence here in downtown LA. If you take a look behind me here, you can see troops are stationed along Alameda Street as another protest is expected to take place later today near City Hall. This follows President Trump's deployment of 2,000 National Guard members in response to a series of immigration protests across the city. This is new video from overnight showing the troops arrive. They stopped at City Hall after driving through Paramount, then ended up here at the Federal Building. Meantime, this follows another night of protest. Video from last night shows tense moments in downtown LA as protesters clashed with police, some setting off fireworks and starting fires. Officers responded with what appeared to be tear gas to disperse the crowds. In a separate incident, demonstrators were seen entering a damaged convenience store in Compton and looting items from inside. According to the LAPD, multiple individuals who returned to the area after a dispersal order was issued on Alameda Street were detained and are expected to be booked for failure to disperse. We spoke with Mayor Bass about the deployment of the National Guard and believes it's not necessary.
My concern, and we have experienced civil unrest, and I remember 1992 very well, that one of the worst things you can do is have an extreme presence of law enforcement that gets everybody agitated and the violence actually escalates.
And today's protest is scheduled for 2 p.m. and the LAPD says officers and the National Guard will remain stationed in this area.
All right. So as I mentioned in the past, y'all do know that they're coming for us. All of this is a prerequisite for us. And I know some of y'all don't believe that. And some of y'all think we're going to be magically whisked out on UFOs or some foolishness or whatever, right? And some of y'all think we're going to leave here just like our ancestors left out of Egypt. It's not going to be exactly the same. I keep telling y'all that, right? But you could get that if you study the scripture.
This is what the civic area of downtown Los Angeles looks like this morning. You can see those two burnt out Waymo autonomous vehicles behind me. 3 more here, protesters torching these. You can see all the debris, the glass on the ground, graffiti on the walls, and there are multiple police checkpoints all over downtown Los Angeles. You can probably see those police lights twinkling in the background. Hundreds of protesters descending on the 101 freeway just behind me. And those clashes ending just a few hours ago.
Overnight chaos erupting in the streets of Los Angeles as protesters and police clashed.
Tensions escalating Sunday as thousands of protesters took to the streets in response to President Donald Trump's extraordinary deployment of the California National Guard. Governor Gavin Newsom saying it was assistance he didn't ask for.
We are here to support local law enforcement, the sheriff's office, LAPD, but they didn't need that support. He made this up. This is a manufactured crisis.
Multiple vehicles set on fire, covered in graffiti condemning ICE. An electric scooter thrown from an overpass, damaging a highway patrol vehicle, which was then set on fire. Many hundreds descending on the 101 freeway, blocking traffic in both directions. CHP, California Highway Patrol, deployed smoke. They're moving in, trying to push these protesters out. You can see some projectiles detaining someone there. The LAPD mobilizing resources and LA's mayor pleading for calm.
Our city does not need to be torn apart.
Earlier Sunday, demonstrators swarming LA's federal building, hundreds of LAPD officers responding. And in the ensuing clashes, the LAPD says multiple officers were injured when two people on motorcycles tried to crash through that police line. We were right there as it happened.
Just moments ago, there's some projectiles being thrown. Just moments ago, a motorcycle seemed to try to break through the police skirmish line. And now you can hear all those flashbangs going off. Police are trying to push those protesters back, firing.
So all of this is in a one particular area, my understanding, and y'all could correct me, is the Compton area and some other areas near Compton. It's Los Angeles, but it's not all of Los Angeles. Obviously, it's not going to be over there in the rich areas, right? All of this is based upon the idea that Trump wants 3,000 arrests a day, right? And this is the claim of why they need the National Guard and the Marines and things like that. And so understand this, that with the numbers of 3,000 a day, right? That's impossible in my opinion. I mean, to round up 3,000 people a day is pretty much impossible. Unless you just start grabbing people off the street. Now, they might just start doing that, right? They might grab you. Because guess what? You got to prove that you're a citizen, right? So if you don't have your passport or you don't have your birth certificate, right, they can pull you off the streets and put you in detention, right? And who knows how long it'll take you to prove that you're a citizen. But there's a reason for all of this. Now, in my opinion, at least, the easiest way to get people to leave is to make it harder for them to live, right? And, if you want them to leave, cut them a check, say, we'll give each one of y'all $5,000 a piece to leave. I know they're supposedly doing that in terms of giving them $1,000. Most people are not going to leave for that. I mean, but anyway.
Remember the 1980s movie, the sci-fi action adventure movie?
That's my brother there, Exodus. I don't know how that got in there. That can't be right. Hold on, let me try this again, fam. I think TikTok did that. Let's try this again. Let's see. There we go.
Well, there it is. 500 Marines are going to LA. This fucking dictatorship is literally deploying Marines on U.S. citizens. Fuck this shit. Fuck this dictator we have in charge. A literal full battalion. It's up to 700 apparently, a full battalion of Marines. And I have a friend that's literally out there protesting. Signs, chants, there was a band playing. They're just marching the streets. There's zero.
So they're putting the Marines out there, which goes against Posse Comitatus. Posse Comitatus states that you cannot have, U.S. military, arresting civilians, right? There's certain limitations. But that's why he included the Insurrection Act to try to get around the Posse Comitatus. And so obviously the court seemed to let him get away with it. Not that they listen to the courts anyway. But as I mentioned before, I watch a lot of our people and they're saying, well, we're not going to help the Mexicans because of this. And look, I agree we should stand down. I'm not saying we should be out there because they want us out there, right? They want to pew us. We are the real targets, but they're going to create so much chaos that it's sort of like what happens when they pull us over and, let's say for a traffic violation, and they don't de-escalate, they escalate the situation. And what I think is going to happen is that they're going to start pulling over black folks. Oh, you're an immigrant? Prove you're not an immigrant, right? And you're going to say, well, all I got is my driver's license. And they're going to grab you. And guess what? Then some of our people are going to start, getting a little feisty, right? And so then they're going to bring in more troops. And then they're going to declare martial law. And then guess who they're going to be coming after then, right? Because they're going to usurp any supposed protections, right? Constitutional protections, local laws, stuff like that. As I mentioned before, all of this is because of us. Some of our people refuse to believe that, right? Some of our people refuse to believe that because this is happening to the Mexicans, right? This is happening to the immigrants, the Latinos, the Haitians, and everybody else, that we're not the targets. We are obviously the targets, and I told you why in the past.
I genuinely hope they don't send 2-7, but if they do, just understand they are coming from the most unpleasant place in the Marine Corps. They're sending in pissed off Marines. They're already pissed. So they might send the Marines into the LA ICE protests. And let me tell you something. I hope that doesn't happen. I really do, man. Do you guys understand the Marines that they would send? They're Marines from 2nd Battalion, 7th Marines. You have any idea where that's at? That's in 29 Palms, California. You ever been out there? It's not the most pleasant place. Okay, so I know a lot of you guys are coming on here and you're going, oh man, some of the Marines aren't going to listen. They're not going to follow orders. They're not going to go. Let me explain something really, really clearly to you. The overwhelming majority of those Marines will follow every single order that they're given. And that happens all the time anyways. I remember going to Iraq, Afghanistan, whatever the deployment is, you had Marines refuse to go. It happens all the time, actually, guys. I know you guys never hear of it, but it happens. Hell, I had a kid when we were in Afghanistan. He got in trouble for a negligent discharge because he pew-pewed himself in the foot so that he could get sent home. I think it was like a 0331. I'm not just, whatever. Shout out to my 31s out there. But let me tell you something, man. These guys are it's hot in 29 Palms right now. It's hot. It's unpleasant. They would love to go to Los Angeles if for nothing else than to get out of that heat. They're out there raking the sand of a volleyball pit that never gets used in the hot sun every day. All right. They're picking up pebbles out of parking lots. They're painting rocks. They're out there doing gun drills every single day. Okay. And I know that there's a lot of people that got feelings about that. And then to top it all off, when I tell you that Marines bring a level of violence that your everyday average person does not understand, they don't understand it. You don't understand it. Marines, listen, I'm telling you, you're a regular civilian, you're out there protesting, you're throwing a flag down, and you're upset. I get it. And that's why I'm telling you, I hope they don't send the Marines, because what the Marines are capable of, everybody knows. When you send the Marines in, we're not playing anymore. The games are over. It's over. Get in line or you will be put in line extremely promptly. Okay, so I hope they don't send the Marines. I hope if you're seeing this, you know, you cut out all the weirdness. And if you want to protest, protest. I get it. There's a lot of people that are upset. But like I said, what do you guys think? Drop a comment, man. Okay,
so what do y'all think going to happen if the Marines do as he said and come in like the typical police officer that deals with us, and they start pew-pewing people? What do you think going to happen? Look, and let's say they go into Compton. I don't think it's going to end up, you know, like Rodney King. It's going to be worse than Rodney King. And I think a lot of our people are pretty much tired. So it's interesting that, you know, yes, there's a lot of Hispanics that live in the Compton area and stuff like that. But there's also a lot of us that live in Compton. And as I stated, you know, all of this stuff is very close to us, right? Regardless if you say, well, I'm not a Hispanic, I'm not an illegal immigrant, right? They're still close to us in terms of status within the United States. And so if these particular Marines come and, you know, show their bravado in that area, I don't think this is going to be, you know, like Rodney King. And Rodney King, you know, it sort of, you know, disrupted things. And, you know, the riots were, you know, disorderly and they had to bring in the National Guard. But I think this is going to go further than most expect. Now, let's assume that does happen, right? Since the Marines are there now, and let's assume the Marines get heavy-handed, you know, then what's going to happen? It was interesting. You know, I was watching Brother Kara's show this morning, and they were showing this reporter who got shot with a rubber bullet in her leg. Now, the cop did it on purpose. Now, just think if they start doing these things to the rest of the people and increase the antagonism, and let's assume that they use some of their other technology that cause people to become more rowdy, right? It's going to get to the point of the chaos where they have to at least declare martial law in LA. And so we're going to see a degree of chaos that I would say personally that we have not seen in America, you know, I don't know since when, because even during the 60s, you know, we were pretty much being the ones that were, you know, being sprayed with water, being, you know, had dogs attacked on us. Now, in this scenario, I think people are going to be deleted. And if that's the case, I mean, you know, they always been talking about a civil and a war. We'll see. I don't know. But I think we're dealing with a time of darkness, and I'm gonna come back to that, right? So I can show you time-wise, biblically, where I think we're at. All right, let's see if this thing. I gotta log in again. Let's see. I just might skip that one. Well, let's try it. I'll log in. Hold on one sec. Let me log in right quick, fam. I thought I was logged in. Some of them I got to be logged in. Some of them I don't have to be logged in. I don't get it. All right, let's see what happens here. Oh, it looked like the page may have been taken down. Let's see. All right, here we go.
So I see
All right, let's share.
a whole bunch of videos. There's my baby, y'all. I see a whole bunch of videos of y'all saying, why do they keep calling on Black people specifically? I'm gonna tell y'all why. Okay, what's good? My name is Jessie, to those who don't know me, and I call plays for a living. So the play is because the country is like so incredibly anti-Black. What they want Black people to be out there for and Black people to be seen for is because that will distract them from the other group of people. Okay, because America is like so super racist, right? When these racists see black people, it moves the target, right? Off of the group of people that they targeting, which we all know who that is right now. It moves the target from them to us. Okay? Like our presence and us being physically seen is literally a visual dog whistle. They know that we will be beat down, brutalized, arrested, et cetera, while they can slide out the back door. And people will be like, oh my gosh, what's going on? You know, bop, 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 bop. And that we just basically do the heavy lifting, et cetera, et cetera. And also we end up being the scapegoats and the ones who take the blame for everything that's going on. Okay? Like we know we had multiple races of people at Black Lives Matter, right? But who were the people that they blamed for like the riots and all of that different shit, even though it wasn't us doing it? They blame Black people because Black people were at the forefront. Okay, so they need Black people to be at the forefront to get their hands dirty. It's like the book 48 Laws of Power. I believe it's the 7th law that's like, you know, get others to do the work for you while you take all the credit. That's what they want. They want Black people to do the work while they take the credit and get the benefits from the shit. They also feel that when that anti-Blackness and racism takes over, now the people will be obsessed with attacking us and will forget all about attacking those other group of people. This is why I keep saying the strategy for Black people right now is to lay low and mind your business. Lay low. Stay out of sight, out of mind. Have a good day.
So the interesting thing, based upon what she was saying, you know, is that this is from the viewpoint of someone, in my opinion, let's say, is not an awakened Israelite, right? It's like, I've noticed there's a lot of Black people, FBAs, ADOS, who don't recognize that they're Israelites on one accord, right? We're on one accord. Whether you're a Hebrew Israelite, whether or not you're Israel Alawi, whether or not you're FBA, ADOS, we're on one accord saying stay out of this mess. Now, the scriptures state in Jeremiah 50:51 that they're going to look for our guilt and not find it, right? They're going to look for our fault and not find fault with us. They're looking for our fault. Why are they looking for our fault? A reason to accuse us. Why are they looking for a reason to accuse us so that they can do to us what they're doing to the immigrants? Now, I'm of the opinion that the situation is going to change so much, and I believe it's going to change very soon, that we're going to be forced to flee, right? But it's not going to be just the economy, even though it's going to affect us. It's not going to just be the increased persecution and oppression with the police and the military, even though that's going to happen as well. What I see happening, because if you follow the trends and you follow the news and you see what's happening around the world, what I expect to happen is that the situation with Ukraine and Russia, or NATO and Russia, is going to increase, right? It's going to also spill over into the Middle East. I believe it's going to either start in Russia and Ukraine and move to the Middle East, or it's going to move to the Middle East and everybody going to just start coming in, right? And that's according to 2 Ezra chapter 15, and how Russia and China is going to, and their allies are going to come against America. Now, it's interesting to me the types of laws that are being passed, and you know, I'll talk about that a little bit too, because look, all of this stuff, look, I can't even talk about everything because there's so much, right? There's so many things that's happening that is prophetically relevant that most people still asleep and don't recognize, and they're going to be caught unawares, and they're going to be deleted with the others, right? They're going to be deleted with the others.
Here's the warning for the Black descendants of the 400-year captivity. You who are of the seed of Abraham, scattered and hidden in the belly of Babylon, you too will be called to leave. You too will be summoned to flee before the wrath of Yahuwah is poured out. So understand this. Don't get too comfortable. Don't get stuck in the luxury and lies of this land. The call to come out of her is going to get louder and become louder. For some, it will come through spiritual conviction. For others, it may come through disaster. For some, it may come by force. But make no mistake about it. You will be called out. You will be moved. And only those who have ears to hear will know when it's time to go. This is the beginning of the great Exodus.
The brother gets it, right? How you going to flee? Your motivation for fleeing, hey, the Most High going to reveal to you. But you going to flee. I told you that. I believe the scriptures. The Bible says you're going to flee. Why do you have to flee? See, you got to ask yourself these questions. Why do you have to flee? Because the Most High can't judge this place while we're still here. And that's why the Bible says, you who dwell amongst the daughter of Babylon, run for your lives. But y'all act like those scriptures don't exist. Y'all act like the scriptures don't exist in Revelation. Come out of her, my people. You act like the scriptures don't exist in Jeremiah 50:51. Flee. Keep Zion in mind, right? Y'all act like those scriptures don't exist. And that's why you build and you're buying your new houses and you're buying your new cars and you're getting ready, to go to your conferences. And guess what? You're about to run out of food. You're about to run out of water. You're about to run out of electricity. You're about to run out of medicine. You don't have to listen to me. You're about to find out. How they say? F-A-F-O? You ain't got to listen to me. You about to find out. And why is that? Why is that? Because the times that I think we're in is very, very prophetic. And look, like I say, I don't have to be right. I am not the Most High. I'm not Yahuwah. I'm not Yeshua. I'm just a servant. I'm just telling you what I see, whether or not it comes to pass. I don't claim to be a prophet. I'm a teacher. That's about it. But even if it don't happen the way I say, I'm just telling you what I see so that you can be prepared. I'm telling you in your Koba's opinion, this is my opinion. Eat the meat, spit out the bones. We about to leave. Just my opinion. You don't have to agree with me. I'm not going to put a time on it. I'm just saying based upon the signs, based upon the birth pains, those birth pains, them contractions are very, very close. The woman's starting to feel the heat. She's starting to feel the pain. That baby about to kick out. That's all I'm saying. Right? I'm measuring the contractions. The woman about to have a baby. And everything seems to be lining up with what I see prophetically. Isaiah 60 verse 2, see, darkness covers the earth and thick darkness is over the people, but Yahuwah rises upon you and his glory appears over you. So, we know that Isaiah 60 has to do with what we call the second Exodus, right? But understand that there's this darkness. This darkness is dealing with judgment and is dealing with deception. Right? So the word for darkness here is hosek, which means literal darkness, or it can be figurative. Ignorance of truth, Isaiah 5:20, spiritual blindness, Isaiah 42:18-20, oppression and captivity, Isaiah 42:7. Isaiah 50:20, woe to those who call evil good and good evil, who put darkness for light and light for darkness, who put bitter for sweet and sweet for bitter. We are in a time of deception, ignorance, and judgment. So right here, this particular verse, it shows that society was what? Morally confused. Are we not in a morally confused state? Is the world not confused? Alphabets, right? Black women hating black men hating black women. I'm just saying, we marry them. We don't marry us. Morally confused, right? They reverse truth and lies. They put darkness for light, light for darkness, bitter for sweet, sweet for bitter. Darkness for light means rejecting Yahuwah's truth and replacing it with deception. We are in a time of deception. Look at AI. AI is literally deception, right? I'm not saying everything it shares with you is deception, but it is a virtual mind. And they're going to be making virtual humans. And they plan on managing you through virtual judges and virtual police. Isaiah 42:18-20, hear you deaf, look you blind and see. Who is blind but my servant, and deaf like the messenger I send? Who is blind like the one in covenant with me, blind like the servant of Yahuwah? You have seen many things, but you pay no attention. Your ears are open, but you do not listen. So Yahuwah is speaking to us as a nation, Israel, Ezra-Alawi, right? We are his servants, but we were spiritually blind, unable to perceive truth. And this is where the world is. They're blind. What happens when you're blind? You're in darkness, right? What happens when you're blind? You're in deception. Darkness covers the land and gross darkness the people. The world is blind. The world is in deception. They make truth a lie and a lie a truth. Isaiah 42:7, to open the blind eyes, to bring out the prisoners from the prison, and them that sit in darkness out of the prison house. So this points to Yahuwah's mission through Yeshua, to liberate the captives and wake up those sitting in darkness, those bound physically and mentally in oppression. And this is mental oppression. This is physical oppression. And this is what we're seeing in the world today, is that people are sitting in darkness. So when we look at the scriptures to open the blind eyes, right? It's clear that darkness is equated to being in prison. To open the blind eyes. Why? Blindness, you're in darkness. To bring out the prisoners from the prison, they're held captive, they're oppressed, and them that sit in darkness out of the prison houses. So some not even in the prison houses, but they're in darkness, which means they're blind. Those sitting in darkness are held captive. We're held captive. We're in the land of what? Our captivity. In the land of our captivity, we shall what? Awaken. Remember ourselves. What happens when you awaken? You get to see the light. You get to understand. So they're not just blind spiritually. They're under real, true oppression. This is what we're seeing here. This is darkness. We're under a land of oppression, and this oppression that we're seeing in America right now, this oppression that we're seeing in LA is going to be global. It's going to be global. So we're oppressed. We're still slaves. We're still colonized. A lot of us still in false religions like Christianity, still in false religions like Islam. Forced to assimilate in their culture, not ours. A system that removes knowledge and identity of who we are and our ancestors. So when we look over at Isaiah 60 verse 2, it says, darkness shall cover the earth and gross darkness the people. So this isn't just a, confusion. It's not just sin, it's worldwide domination by what? The beast system. What does the beast system do? It lies. It hides the truth. It oppresses. It controls you. It tells you what to do, what not to do. This is the beast system in Revelation. This is the darkness that has covered the earth and covered the people. AI is a part of the beast system. Look, like I say, right now, I believe AI is a tool, but they're talking about AGI next year. Now, they can have it before then. But this whole system, we were already programmed and pre-programmed through Hollywood, through television, through movies. And now we're being manipulated and controlled by a virtual mind, a virtual manager, a virtual oppressor. It enslaves the mind. It controls people. It pushes deception. We are under darkness, and the whole world is in darkness. The whole world is in deception. The whole world is putting bitter for sweet and sweet for bitter. Deuteronomy 28 describes the curses of captivity. And these curses are starting to flip on the Gentiles. And guess what? It just so happens that the first ones it's flipping on are the descendants of the Spaniards and the Portuguese. This blindness, this madness, this deception is on the whole planet, the whole world. What we're seeing today is symptoms of oppression and darkness, right? The oppressors always did lie. The oppressors always did deceive. The oppressors always did give us the slave Bible. They always did give us their Christian reinterpretation of the Torah, right? We are oppressed not only mentally, but also physically. And that's what we're seeing. We're seeing the devil. We're seeing that the beast system is angry. And that's why I keep telling you in Revelation 12, who is the dragon angry with? It is with the woman. That's why I keep telling y'all, we are the true targets. It is not them. Isaiah 60 is not just about light appearing. It's about freedom returning. Arise and shine, for your light has come, and the glory of Yahuwah has risen upon thee. This means the oppressed are being freed. Truth is being restored. Israel's identity is being uncovered. So light is on the way to get us out of darkness so that we can see. The whole world is in darkness. They cannot see. And that's like I try to get you all to understand. You got to understand not only what the Bible says, but you have to understand the context in what it was saying it. And the people who the Most High was talking about in context. Who's being delivered from darkness? Who's setting the captives freed? Who are the ones in prison? Who are the ones being freed from the land of their captivity? See, this is darkness that's happening. This is what you're seeing with Trump. This is what you're seeing with the protests. This is what you're seeing with the immigration. It is totalitarianism. It is moving towards what? Martial law. Well, technically, we are already in martial law. Maybe not officially. Technically, we are. Definitely, LA is in martial law. Isaiah 66, 7-9. Before Zion travailed, she gave birth. Before her pain came upon her, she was delivered of a male child. See, there's that imagery again. Remember in Revelation 12, Israel, which was the woman, the child was the Messiah, and the child went up to the heaven to be with the Father. But Israel went into the wilderness. This is where we're at. We are the targets of the dragon system, which is this NATO Western Allied system. They are after us. We're seeing the increase of darkness. We're seeing the increase of oppression. But soon as Zion travailed, she started feeling the pain. She's about to give birth. Before her pain came, she was delivered. So we're about to get hit real hard. And it's gonna look like we not gonna win. But soon as the pain comes where it looked like the dragon's going to destroy us, we're going to be delivered. The man child, the male child is going to be delivered. Who has heard such a thing? Who has seen such things? Shall a land be born in one day, or shall a nation be brought forth in a moment? For as soon as Zion was in labor, okay, we're in labor. This is what's happening. The baby about to be born. This is what I believe. Eat the meat, spit out the bone. She brought forth her children. Shall I bring to the moment of birth? Shall the Most High bring us to this point, right? With the oppression and the darkness and not cause to bring forth, says Yahuwah. Shall I, who caused to bring forth, shut the womb, says Yahuwah. We are at that point, in my opinion. This is my opinion. Eat the meat, spit out the bones. I don't know what to tell you. I'm just telling you what I see. I could be wrong. We're about to go in the wilderness. That's what I believe. But it's about to get hot. The contractions are coming very, very quickly. You know how a lot of people say, man, it was just Friday. How is it, Wednesday next week already? Or, how did the week pass so quick, right? And all of these things that's happening during this time of the changes and the changes in the laws and the changes in the economic system, the whole oppression that's happening to the world, not just us, but the world is being oppressed. Gentiles are feeling it. Israel been feeling it, but now it's starting to flip. Have you noticed? Most of our people not even complaining. Have y'all? Give me a 1 if you know our people haven't been complaining. Give me a 2 if you feel otherwise. Because what I've noticed, our people just sitting there eating popcorn. I ain't gonna lie. Like I said, even the FBAs and the ADOSs who don't know they're Israel, they're eating popcorn. They just sitting there. They're like, this ain't nothing new. This ain't nothing new. What's new here? We've been dealing with this for what, 400 years? Oh, how come y'all blacks don't want to come help us? How come y'all don't want to come protest? Why should we? We told y'all don't vote for them. Why should we? Y'all didn't come and support us. Y'all saw them pew-pewing us in the street, but you ain't care. Now that he rounding y'all up and sending y'all back home, at least if you make it back to your country, that's better than going to El Salvador, going in the prison houses. But soon as Israel travailed, as soon as she travailed, she brought forth her child. So what we're dealing with here, look, and you got to understand the symbolism. You got to understand the symbolism. Because we're looking at here, right? What does it say? Before Zion travailed, she gave birth. Before her pain came upon her, she was delivered of a male child. Now, we know this is tied to us going back to our land, to us being delivered, which also symbolically tied back to Revelation 12. The dragon stood in front of the woman who was about to what? Give birth, so that it might devour her child the moment he was born. She gave birth to a son, a male child. Before Zion travailed, she what? Gave birth. The dragon is what? Trying to devour us. The dragon what? is waiting for us. What happened? 2019, all hell broke loose, right? Didn't we tell y'all that was going to happen before it happened? Did we not tell you that? Why did everything change after 2019? Because they saw us waking up. They saw us waking up, and the dragon stood in front of the woman who was about to get birthed so that he might devour her child the moment he was born. Now, this here was talking about the Messiah, but Isaiah 66 is talking about the nation of Israel. And this is what we're seeing. This is why you see the Western nations. This is why you see Trump. This is why you see the French. This is why you see all of these people getting ready to oppress us. That's why they're changing the laws. That's why they're implementing AI, because AI is their big game, right? This AI is their big weapon to control and oppress the whole world, just to get at us, to keep us what? Perpetual slaves. This is the goal. But as soon as Zion travailed, she gave birth. As soon as the darkness happened or the contractions occurred, rise and shine, the baby has arrived. Come on now. Y'all get what I'm saying? Rise and shine, the baby has arrived. Arise and shine, for your light has come, and the glory of Yahuwah rises upon you. See, darkness covers the earth, and thick darkness over the people. There's deception, there's oppression, there's judgment. But Yahuwah rises upon you, and his glory appears over you. Come on now. But before Zion travailed, she gave birth. This is where I think we're at. Look, you can see what's happening on the continent. You can see what's happening with Ibrahim Traore. You can see what's happening with the president of Botswana. You can see what's happening with Mali. You can see what's happening with Chad. It's not even just here. In my opinion, whether or not you want to call it the Exodus, because I don't believe it's the Exodus. I believe we're fleeing Babylon before Babylon can be judged. We're leaving Babylon so that the Most High can destroy her. And after we get into the wilderness, we're going to be there for 3.5 years. The Most High going to deal with these nations during that time, and he's going to deal with the rebels in the wilderness. And after 3.5 years, we're going to Zion. We're going back to Jerusalem. We're going to Ethiopia. I know some of y'all still don't believe Ethiopia the land. That's your business. Like I have said, most people don't know the scriptures because they don't study the scriptures. They don't want to know the scriptures. Why? Because a lot of people benefit from Babylon. A lot of people make money from Babylon. A lot of people make money from the Israelites, just as the pastors make money off the Christians. They don't want you free. They want you in bondage. They don't want you free to be led of the Holy Spirit and led of the Most High Yahuwah. They want you to be under them. You best get your relationship straight with the Most High. You best get to the point where you only hear what the Father tells you. You better get to the point where you stop listening to every Tom, Dick, and Harry who don't have your best interests at heart. You best get to the point where you say, yes, Father. And if Father say don't do it, say, yes, Father, I won't do that, just as you command. You best get to the point where it's not your will, but his will be done. Because here's the deal that they don't want to tell you. Everybody not making it out. Well, he not gonna leave none behind. He not gonna leave none behind. How you say, Jacoba? He not gonna let everybody not gonna make it out. You know why everybody not gonna make it out? because only the righteous remnant get to leave. Only the righteous remnant. Do you fall in that category? I don't care if you're an Israelite. I don't care if you're a Gentile. Do you fall in the category of the righteous remnant? Because that's who making it out. That's why the Bible says, for those who escape what? The sword. See, they don't want to teach you that. How come your pastors and your mores don't tell you the only people making it out? The only people making it out is those who escape the sword. And the only ones who going to escape the sword are the righteous. The only ones who escaping the sword is the ones who obey his laws, statutes, and commandments. The only ones who making it out is the ones who believe in Yahushua. The only ones. And just to let y'all know, and I'm not going to really talk about it because I don't want to get punished, right? Because they're good at punishing me when I say these things. So y'all going to have to listen closely. And I don't know if anything going to happen, but I'm just going to let you know. Y'all remember during the last few years, right before we had the lollipop incident, they had an exercise called Event 201. Do y'all remember that? Give me a 1 if you remember that. Give me a 2 if you don't. It was called Event 201. Well, just so happens there's another one. There's another event happening. And guess what? It's another thing similar to the lollipops. You know, I'm going to just put it that way. And it's supposed to happen on the 4th of July, 2025, according to the exercise. It's supposed to happen July 4th, 2025, according to the exercise. Now, we know that Event 201, it happened. Just at the exercise. Now, whether that's the case, whether or not that's going to happen, I pray it don't. Because from what they're saying, there's not going to be a lot of people left. I'm just letting you know. There's not going to be a lot of people left, according to them. That's how bad this is supposed to be. I'm not telling you this to put fear in your heart. I'm telling you this so you can, 1, seek the Most High, fast, pray, not only for yourself, but for the whole nation of Israel, Israeli, right? And make preparations. If something's going to happen that's going to be at least as bad as what happened a few years ago, you need to do as much at minimum. I just want to give y'all that input. You ain't got to believe me, right? I'm just saying, don't hate the messenger. Because some people just let you get caught unawares, and I'm not going to do that. So, family, if y'all like what we do, please support us. You can become a patron, right? You can also give Cash App, $TOTW 7101. $TOTW 7101. You can also go to tailministries.com, click on the donations tab. Right? There's other options to give. You can also buy my book, and you can also buy Minister Taylor's book. They always knew we were Israelites. So, fam, that's all I got for you. This is how I see it. Pray I'm wrong. I don't mind being wrong, fam. I'm telling you, I don't mind being wrong. As a matter of fact, in this instance, I hope I'm wrong. I don't want to go through none of this, right? But from everything I'm seeing, we about there. And also, before I go, there's one thing I wanted to tell you that I found very interesting, right? So Trump, you know, he has his big, beautiful bill, right? And, you know, that his big, beautiful bill has to do with economics, and it has to do with, you know, oppressive laws and the Insurrection Act and the whole martial law type stuff, right? All that in there. But one thing I didn't know, right? One thing I didn't know, which it really surprised me, right? It really surprised me, is that within that big, beautiful bill act, right? It says, right, that, this bill, basically it says that the United States has made it where you cannot pass any laws regulating or governing artificial intelligence for 10 years. A state cannot pass any laws, only the federal government. I mean, to me, that seems illegal. I don't think you can do this, right? Where's the separation of powers? But according to the Big Beautiful Bill Act, the only government that can pass laws regulating artificial intelligence is the feds. So under this moratorium, states cannot enact, and that's for 10 years. Under this moratorium, states cannot enact rules addressing things like algorithmic biases. So you know how AI see a black face and might call you a criminal? A state can't force them to correct that. Deep fakes, right? Facial recognition, automated decision making, right? States can't pass no laws to govern that. That means AI regulation would be centralized at the federal level. State level efforts, just like they're doing like with the chemtrails and stuff, right? Right? At least some of the states are taking state level actions to sort of, at this point, at least monitor chemtrails. You ain't gonna be able to do that for AI. So this is a totalitarian system that's being put in place. This is darkness, and I'm gonna tell you this. It sure look Antichrist-like, right? It looks Antichrist-like. Does that mean the president is the Antichrist? Maybe, maybe not. I don't know. He could be. He sure look like he could be, but I don't know. They're a bit slick. He could be. It's looking that way, but I don't know. Well, that's all I got, family. Love y'all with the love of the Messiah. Peace and blessings, Israel. Your captivity is ending. Well, family, the wait is over. The moment has arrived where truth emerges triumphant from the shadows of history. Introducing the true Jerusalem, the lost kingdoms of the Israelites, the groundbreaking work by me, Jacoby Vale. A journey into the past that reshapes the future. I cut through centuries of misconceptions with piercing clarity. This book delivers a compelling case packed with evidence that commands attention and gonna get some respect. Come with me for a second, family, and discover how these thrilling civilizations flourished, protected by towering highlands and sustained by advanced engineering. Some have asked, where is Jerusalem? Is it the land in the Middle East? I say no. It is in the highlands of Ethiopia. With hours of groundbreaking research, this book brings in a new revelation, and it will transform your understanding of African history and its connections to the ancient world. It's going to remove from your mind the conditioning by the Romans of what has really happened to our past. Come with me, family, to the Ethiopian highlands and find out why this is our land. Why things have been hidden and obfuscated for centuries. We are royalty, children of the Most High. What kind of land do you expect us to have? Dried up dirt in the Middle East, or land flowing with rivers? A land full of beautiful animals flowing with milk and honey. Don't miss out on this monumental unveiling. Grab your copy today and stand on the side of truth. Visit Amazon.com or www.tailministries.com to purchase your book and join Jacoby Vale's teachings on Tail Ministries. Family, your journey to a hidden history has now begun. So family, get your copy of True Jerusalem, the Lost Kingdoms of the Israelites today. Journey to the heart of Africa, where history and legend converge to reveal the forgotten kingdoms of the Israelites and the true location of Jerusalem.